All right, so let's dive into this idea of the Dolce Vita.
Okay.
Um, this Italian concept of the sweet life.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of taking a cue from the Love to Visit Italy newsletter
Right.
and exploring how this idea, which was really big in Rome back in the late 50s and early 60s,
Yeah.
can still be something that inspires us today, you know?
It's interesting how that phrase, La Dolce Vita, it
Yeah.
captures like a whole way of life.
Right.
And it's
Well,
more than just indulging, in luxury or something.
Yeah.
It's about those everyday moments.
right.
Finding pleasure in those.
Exactly. And the newsletter even suggests some ways to experience that
Oh, yeah.
in modern day Rome
Okay.
and highlights some amazing places to visit
Cool.
throughout Italy, like the Amalfi Coast.
Oh, yeah.
I'm picturing myself right now sipping limoncello, overlooking the turquoise waters.
The Amalfi Coast is such a good example
Yeah.
of how La Dolce Vita has kind of evolved, It's gone beyond just that image of maybe like overindulgence. And it's now more like
Right.
embracing beauty and art
Yeah.
and nature and, of course, the food.
Well, and speaking of food,
Oh, yeah.
the newsletter includes this spaghetti carbonara recipe.
Oh, wow.
It made me wonder if there's a connection between the way Italians approach food
Mm-hmm.
and this whole philosophy of Dolce Vita.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Food is such a central part of Italian culture.
Yeah.
It's not just about like fueling your body, it's about savoring those flavors,
Mhm.
using fresh ingredients
Yeah.
and sharing it with the people you love.
Right.
It's like an experience.
Yeah.
It's a ritual.
Yeah. It makes me think about that article the newsletter linked to
Okay.
about escaping those crowds in Rome
Yeah.
and visiting towns like Siena or Ragusa Ibla.
Mm.
They were talking about how those places offer, a more authentic, slower paced way
Right.
to experience Italy.
It's like mindful travel,
Yeah.
And it really connects to La Dolce Vita.
Mhm.
It's about slowing down, taking in the beauty,
Yeah.
connecting with the culture.
And that idea of mindful travel even connects to something the newsletter mentioned that's really practical.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Planning your trips in advance.
Okay.
Yeah. They said booking ahead
Hmm.
is going to be really important, especially for 2024.
Yeah.
They're expecting a really busy travel year.
Right.
I always thought of planning as a chore,
Mm-hmm.
but you're making me rethink that.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit more about how planning can actually make you enjoy things more?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
When you plan ahead, you're eliminating so much stress.
Yeah.
You're not rushing around at the last minute,
Right.
trying to find a place to stay,
Yeah.
or missing out on things you're hoping to see,
Right.
And that frees up your mind to really be present and savor each moment.
It's like the newsletter is giving us this recipe
Yeah.
for La Dolce Vita. And planning ahead is one of those key ingredients.
I like that. Yeah.
So we talked about travel.
Uh-huh.
We talked about food.
Yeah.
But the newsletter also mentioned the week of Italian cuisine in the world,
Okay.
which happens in November.
All right.
What does that tell us about La Dolce Vita?
It shows us that it's not just about, a personal pursuit of pleasure.
Okay.
It's something bigger than that.
Yeah.
You share it, you celebrate it.
Okay.
It's about connection and community.
Mhm.
That joy of experiencing something beautiful together.
So La Dolce Vita is about savoring those moments,
Yeah.
connecting with others,
Mm-hmm.
approaching life with intention.
Right.
But what does that look like, day to day?
That's the really interesting part.
Okay.
And that's what we'll explore next. Sometimes I think La Dolce Vita can feel kind of like this, far off ideal.
Yeah.
Like something you only experience on vacation.
Right.
But the truth is, those Dolce Vita moments, they're all around us, even in our everyday lives.
I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Yeah.
We get so caught up in our routine, our
Yeah.
to-do lists,
Yeah,
that we forget to appreciate those simple things.
exactly.
But how do we actually shift our mindset?
Mm-hmm.
How do we start noticing those moments?
Well, the newsletter touched on, mindful travel,
Right.
but that same principle.
Yeah.
You can apply it to everyday life, too. It's
Yeah.
about being present in whatever you're doing,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Whether it's enjoying that first cup of coffee in the morning
Right.
or taking a walk in the park.
So finding those little pockets of dolcezza
Oh,
throughout the day.
It's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah, and the treasure can be anything
Mm-hmm.
that brings you joy.
Right.
It could be listening to music,
Yeah.
spending time with family.
Mm-hmm.
It could be just taking a few minutes to breathe.
Absolutely.
This makes me think about how we talked about planning
Yeah.
being such a key part of the Dolce Vita experience.
Right.
Is there a way to sort of plan for joy
Yeah. If
in everyday life?
Yeah, it's not about like,
Right.
scheduling every minute,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's about being intentional
Okay.
with your time and your energy.
Okay.
Think about the things that make you feel happy and energized.
Mhm.
Maybe it's cooking a nice meal,
Yeah.
reading a good book,
Uh-huh.
or even just calling a friend you haven't talked to in a while.
Yeah.
Make time for those things,
Well,
even just a few minutes each day.
I like that.
Yeah,
It's about building those moments into our routine.
exactly.
But life isn't always, perfect.
Right.
What about those days where it feels like everything's going wrong?
Yeah.
Does La Dolce Vita have any advice
Mm-hmm.
for how to deal with stress and challenges?
One thing the newsletter emphasized
Yeah.
was that La Dolce Vita,
Mm-hmm.
it isn't about some unattainable ideal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about embracing those imperfections
Okay.
and finding the joy even in the midst of those challenges.
So it's okay if my spaghetti carbonara
Yeah.
doesn't turn out perfect every time,
Exactly.
or if my day doesn't go as planned.
Yeah. I mean, those imperfections,
Right.
they often make for the best stories later,
Yeah.
The Dolce Vita is about enjoying the journey,
Right.
not just the destination.
This is the sweet life,
Exactly.
not the perfect life.
I like that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. And it's kind of liberating in a way,
It is. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
allows us to be more present, more spontaneous,
Right.
and ultimately more joyful.
You know what this is making me realize?
What's that?
La Dolce Vita. It isn't just a concept
Right.
or a philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a way of approaching life.
Yeah,
It's a mindset,
it is.
and we can cultivate that
Yeah.
every single day.
And the beautiful thing is,
Yeah.
it's accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
You don't have to travel to Italy. You don't have to buy a fancy car.
Right.
It's about finding those simple joys, connecting with the people around you,
Yeah.
appreciating the beauty that's in every moment.
I think that's a perfect place to end this part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
So, listener, as we move on, think about this.
Okay.
How can you bring a little dolcezza into your own life?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is about finding those moments,
Yeah.
those sparks of joy
Yeah.
that make life sweeter.
Right. And
Yeah.
what's so great about La Dolce Vita
Yeah.
is that it encourages us
Mm-hmm.
to find those moments,
Yeah.
not just on vacation or special occasions,
Right.
but like every day.
So bringing that intention
Yeah.
to everything we do,
Absolutely.
our work,
Uh-huh.
our relationships, taking care of ourselves.
Taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, finding ways to add that dolcezza,
Exactly.
even the mundane stuff.
Maybe it's listening to music while you work,
Yeah.
or making your workspace really nice, or just taking a second to pause and,
Yeah.
appreciate what's around you.
It's about those little things
Yeah.
that make those everyday things
Mm-hmm.
feel special.
Right. And it's not about, being perfect or having it all figured out. It's
Yeah.
about embracing
Yeah.
the imperfections, the spontaneity, the
Yeah.
unexpected joys
Mm-hmm.
that life throws at us.
So as we wrap up
Yeah.
this deep dive into La Dolce Vita,
Okay.
think about this. What brings you joy?
Yeah. What are those things
Yeah.
that make your heart sing?
Yeah. And how can you weave those things
Exactly.
into your own version of the sweet life?
La Dolce Vita, it's not a destination, it's a
It's
journey.
a way of life
It's just a way of life.
that celebrates,
Yeah.
the beauty of imperfection,
Yeah.
the joy of connecting,
Uh-huh.
and savoring every moment.
I love that.
Thanks for joining us
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
for this exploration of La Dolce Vita.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully you're leaving
Yeah.
feeling inspired
Absolutely.
to embrace that dolcezza
Yeah.
in your own life.
A little more sweetness.
Ciao.